How are you,
Adam,
Darren?
I'm fine. Are you doing fine?
I'm doing the best I can with what they gave me, my friend.
That's the best way to put it. And I've got so many questions for you on a range of topics. Can we first start by talking about this upcoming weekend set of appearances at Mohegan Sun?
Yes, my wife is very happy I'm out of the house.
Well, my wife will be joining in and is very glad to be seeing you. She's never seen you before. I've seen you probably, let's see, the Brokerage, Governor's Comedy Club,
Oh, okay.
Western Music Fair. You've been around forever, and I mean that in a good way.
That's the way I'll take it then. Thank you, my friend. Yes, I started July 13th, 1988. I got out of college. I told my mom and dad, well, we've done one of your things. Now I'm going to try one of mine. And it's been a great ride. I've been so fortunate now because I get to do stand-up. I get to do act. I get to do comedy and drama. I hosted Top Gear for six years. I got to do that. I've been around the world driving really fast cars. I played Carnegie Hall, Radio City. I've been able to work with A-level actors, and it's just been a wild ride. So, and this weekend I'm going to be at the Mohegan Sun Casino, one of my favorite gigs. It's at the Comics Roadhouse at the Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut. So grab your aunt, grab your uncas, and come see me.
I see what you did there. When some comics are doing a casino, they have to change their act up a little bit, but you've been a headliner for over 20 years now.
Yeah.
Does your act change at all when you have to do a fine casino like Mohegan Sun?
No, it's not really. I mean, I will put in more gambling stuff if I have it. There's a lot of part of my act, a lot of my sections in my act are improv. So I work a lot with what the audience gives me and the surroundings and the circumstances. So my act is always evolving because, Darren, I'm a confessional comic. I take my life, I put it through a poison art, and whatever comes out. It's basically healing for me, Darren. That's what it's become. It's like if I can connect with an audience on an experiential level, I don't feel so alone. And it's basically, I suffered from my art, and now it's the audience's turn.
Well said. If you don't want to give up where people might run into you, feel free to say next question. But is there a restaurant or two Mohegan Sun that you really like? And
I go to Jordan's a lot. I like that. I don't know if he's still there. There was a waiter there named Isaac who was a fan of Nurse Jackie who recognized me. And I don't want to say anything, but he would bring me a nice appetizer once in a while. He was like, "That's with me." And I'm like, "How nice to you? I'm going to get Caesar salad." So yeah, but there's great restaurants there. There's the Raw Bar that's over on the top thing, and you go right past that giant fountain. You know, the glass statue. It looks like the DNA span of life, or that giant sperm statue. And that restaurant that's across from the statue in the back, like you go through the bricks. The name escapes me right now. But that's really good. My father used to like that. That's where we always met because my father. All right, I'll tell you the story. We're doing a Rescue Me comedy tour, right? And I said, and we played, Radio City. We premiered at Radio City. So my name, Darren, my name is up there. Dennis Leary, Lenny Clark, Adam Ferrara, and we would do the Rescue Me comedy tour to launch the new season. And we were doing it at Radio City. So my parents had come into the city. They're from Long Island.
Yes.
And, coming into the city, it's like the wagon train.
So much work, Adam. Oh.
Yeah, it's tolls. We got to pack a lunch, They still remember Ford saying, "Drop dead. It's a jungle in there," right? So I was doing Letterman. They came in for that. They would come in all the time. So I said, "Look, Pop, I'm playing Radio City on the Rescue Me comedy tour." He goes, Yeah, kid. Your mother says you're playing the Mohegan Sun. We're going to go to that one." Because he could gamble. So I said, and we were in the arena. I said, "Okay, but you're going to come to the show." He's like, "Yeah, I'll be there, unless I get on a rush. But I'll be there. Don't you worry." So he came to the Mohegan Sun. It was one of their favorite places to come. And we'd always meet by the statue. That's where by the way, Darren, my ADD is raging this morning. The coffee hasn't kicked in yet. But
I've only had 2 energy drinks, so I feel your pain.
Yeah, we would meet by that statue. That was that, and it's beautiful, that statue, that whole sculpture there.
Are you talking about the waterfall by Chef Todd English's place, Tuscany?
Yeah, is that it? Tuscany, that's it. And you come down the escalators, and there's that big glass statue, and then there's the waterfall, and you're like, it's beautiful. Then the waterfall's there. I'm like, I gotta pee. Thank God the bathrooms are right there.
Well, the first time or two I went to Mohegan Sun, I was selling T-shirts for a rock band that was playing the Wolf Den, and they kind of went, "Here's the all access pass. Go eat in back of house. Anytime you're hungry, go to the back of house." Did you get that on your first trip or two to Mohegan Sun?
No, I got that when we did the I do the Barrett Jackson auto auctions. So when we were there, because you got to eat quick, you know. So sometimes they would bring us food from the back of the house, and sometimes if you just want to get up and stretch your legs, because every 15 minutes they would cut away to me and April Rose as the cars went up the block. So we would run into the back of the house, and it was nice because they see you running. They know when the entertainers are there, you know, because we don't know what we're doing. The badge is over here, and they're always like, and there was always somebody, "Come here, baby, I'm gonna take care of you. You don't know what the hell you're doing." So yeah, they're very kind there, and it was a great show. And the Roadhouse is a great place to see a show. It's just big enough. The sound is great. Mark does a great job. So, and I will be there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Multiple shows, not just 3.
Right.
So steering away from beautiful, wonderful Mohegan Sun.
Right.
One of the things I love about your career is how much success you've had as an actor, and how many of the people who follow you from the acting career, the Top Gear stuff, had no idea that you were this working comic for all that time. Are you still finding that all this time later? Yeah,
I get people that come. I get a lot of people that come from different things I've done. And what amazes me is like the Top Gear people, they kind of knew I was a stand-up because the guys made reference to it in the show. But because I've done the drama side of stuff, like people that know me from Nurse Jackie and a couple of movies I did, definitely maybe with Ryan Reynolds. I just did a movie, Little Italy, and I'm on the CBS All Access show right now called Why Women Kill with Lucy Liu, Jennifer Goodwin, Alicia Coppola. So it's more drama stuff, right? So when they come to see me at the comedy club, you know, I do a meet and greet afterwards. They're like, "We didn't know you were a comic," and I was like, "What did you think was going to happen here?" well, to be fair, on the side, yeah. I'm like, did you think I was just going to do burnouts or something? You know. To be totally fair, you used to play the Brokerage in Belmore here on Long Island. And 1 out of every like 15 shows that Gary booked was soap opera actors just on stage just talking fawned over. Yeah, that was the deal. That's why we got stage time when we were kids, because the soap opera guys figured out they could sell it out, but they didn't have an act. So I would get a call when I was a kid and like, "You want to open for Walt Willey?" "Yeah, sure." "Do 45 minutes. He doesn't have an act." Well, maybe that's what they thought that they were getting into. I mean, think of how many people from SNL, former cast members, are now touring as stand-up comics. And it's just as like they're reading a joke book, kind of a 1960s joke book. Not naming names. You can name names if you want. But everyone's got to eat. Everyone's got to eat. Who did I just have on my podcast? Oh, I had Kevin Nealon, who told some great stories on my podcast. And, you know, he was a stand-up first. There was a lot of people that was stand-ups first. Oh, yeah. And that went on to it. You know, Brian Regan was on the show as well. I didn't know this, but I had Nathan Lane on my show as well. And he did sketch. It wasn't really stand-up, but he told a great story. He started doing singing telegrams. That's how he was making money. And he goes to an Italian wedding to do a singing telegram. And he got into an argument with the accordion player. So in front of everybody, they're going back and forth. And he finishes his song. He's like, "All right, I got to go." They're like, No, stay. He goes, "I just started complaining about my life and they threw money at me." Yeah, I mean, that's between that and your cousin taking one of the bridesmaids into the coat closet and your uncle getting drunk going, "I give it 3 months. If you bought gifts, hang on to the receipts." That's an Italian wedding. Well, you just mentioned the podcast. When you started the podcast, was it out of the need of like, I need something to do, I need a new creative outlet where no one's telling me what to say? Or is it just a lot of friends started podcasts and you saw that it was a easier way than just doing everyone else's podcast? It was 2 things that happened to me, Darren. It was, I needed to, like, what you're very observant as far as I do these different things. Like I'm doing comedy, drama, cars, stand up. So I needed a central place to bring everybody to harness the audience. And there's also no barrier to entry, like you said. You know, you don't have to pitch a script and have some guy named Josh with a lot of product in his hair going, I don't see it. So you can do whatever you want to do, and it will reach an audience. So I was very pleased because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like I've got a lot of friends that are very good at just interviewing other comics and, what's your creative process like? And that's already been done. So what my podcast is called 30 Minutes You'll Never Get Back. And what it is when I was a kid, the best night's sleeps I ever had was when I was upstairs and I heard my mom and dad with their friends downstairs laughing. And that's the feeling I wanted to capture with my podcast. I wanted people to download it and, okay, I'm over Adam's house. I want people to think if you download my podcast to your phone, you'll always have friends in your pants. So the first 10 minutes is me, my wife, and my two friends talking about a topic. Then we cut away to a one-on-one interview I've done with a celebrity or someone like a celebrity in different walks of life. I had actors, comedians. I had an FBI profiler on. I had the Jeopardy champion, Buzzy Cohen, who won the whole Tournament of Champions.
I missed that one, unfortunately. I do apologize for missing the Buzzy Cohen one.
No, Buzzy's coming out. He's coming out. I had and actors too: Ralph Macchio, Edie Falco, Steve Schiltz, Jay Leno did one for me. So then after we do the interview, we cut away. We cut back to my family because, like any good group of friends, we talk about them when they leave.
Right.
That's the whole experience of the show. It's basically, I want you to come to my house, sit down, have a drink. This is what we're talking about. Hey, look who's here. We got company. And then when they leave, we're like, what was that? That was great. Did you hear when he said this? So it was fun. And I don't know when this is going to air, but who is this week coming up? I'm not quite sure. Brent Spiner from Data from Star Trek, if you're a Star Trek fan. I had an astronaut. I had Katie Coleman, the astronaut. She lived in the space station for 6 months. She was a flautist. She played the flute with Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull from space. A duet. Yeah, I've done nothing with my life.
I would not say that. I would say, again, comedy headliner for over 20 years. A cast member on, Rescue Me is a top 5 all-time television show.
Great experience.
Comedy, you got comedy. You like drama, you got the survivalist New York stuff, you got it all. So do we say that Adam Ferrara has been on 3 of the best shows of all time? Because Top Gear, come on, it's the most popular show in the world, even if it was America kind of stuff. Right. Come on, what have you done with your life? Come on, you can't
I'll be honest with you, Dad. You think there'd be more money. That's how I know my wife loves me. There's no money. I mean, there's money. I'm doing all right. But there's no I love you in spite of you money.
Well, I got, you've given me so much already, but I got 3 more questions if you got time. Okay, first question is, a few of the people that you mentioned having been on your podcast are Long Islanders by nature. And being from Long Island, it seems like the common thread is you grow up hating it, going, I can't wait to get out of here. And you're sort of proud of like the forefathers that came from here, the Eddie Murphys, the Jerry Seinfelds, the Rodney Dangerfields. Then you get out of there, and then eventually you come back, whether it's just performing or visiting family, a little more than you anticipated. When did you start being proud of your Long Island roots?
I was never not proud of the Long Island roots. I was always like, it was always a weird thing because my family fought like hell to get out of the city, and my generation fought like hell to get back in.
Right.
We want to go back in. I was like, okay, we've been to the mall. What else? We're going through Dairy Barn again. It's not like I was ashamed of it, but I was when I left and went to LA and I came back, I appreciated it more. And I don't think it's a Long Island thing. I think it's just a human thing. When you don't have that sense of community, when you don't have that sense of belonging or familiarity, when you come back, it's like, oh, I missed this because I had to go out. It's good to break out of your patterns, but it's also a comfort when you come back. And I came back as a different person because I left as a kid. I moved to LA in '93. So I was a kid when I moved out there. And when I came back, I was like, oh. And you also notice things about your family. I'm like, wow, these people are loud.
Yeah.
I never realized. And because that was my father would always be, don't you let anyone outside this house know we talk about in here. I'm like, the windows are open and you're screaming. They can hear you. I'm not leaking, Pop. They hear you. So in answer to your question, I think it's when I left I got a newfound appreciation when I left and came back. And as far as the comics that came from it, was funny. I'll go back to the podcast. I was talking to Kevin James is a friend. He's from Long Island.
Oh, yeah.
Alan Zweibel, the writer.
Oh, for Wantagh. Yeah.
Yeah, Wantagh. I had him on and we started talking about Long Island. And he used to come into the city with Billy Crystal.
Yeah.
And Ralph, too, Macchio. He's from Long Island.
Huntington, yeah.
He lives out by my mother. So we did it. In fact, we did a movie together, Ralph and I. And first day of a movie, everyone's nervous and, everyone's coming together to meet everybody. And we were like one of our first takes on a break. I made a joke about the Dairy Barn, and he just fell out laughing. And that just became our bonding moment.
Yeah, Huntington is a really special place. And now that you got the Paramount, haven't you played there? And that's not question 2 of 3, by the way. Haven't you played the Paramount?
No, I haven't played the Paramount. I think I was going to, and then, this happened. This
little thing. Well, yeah. Either way, question 2, am I completely making this up that you're a guitar guy?
Yeah. I started playing the guitar. I play great bar band guitar, Darren. Like, I know the beginning of every great song.
So you're a good busker.
Oh yeah, I can play the beginning of every great song. Then after that, I got nothing.
Yeah.
So I played bar band guitar. I haven't played in years, but I actually have in the closet. I got a Clapton Strat. I got a Olympic white Clapton Strat that was given to me because I punched up a script. I had a buddy of mine. I punched up a script for him, and he sold it. And he goes, "I sold it. Here, this is for you." I was, how sweet of you. Then I found out what he made for the script. I'm like, you cheap bastard.
A $300 Squire reprint of a Clapton.
Oh, this is a Clapton Strat. It's got the Fender Lace pickups in it.
Oh wow.
Why? Yeah.
So I, for some reason, remembered you were a guitar guy. So I was curious if the loss of Eddie Van Halen had a big impact on you.
Oh yeah, because that's when Eddie came out, I went, "What am I doing? Are you kidding me? I keep my hand down here. What is this? What is that?"
Finger tapping, yeah.
Yeah, Eddie, I met David Lee Roth, and that was, as soon as when I heard Eddie passed, I went back to my conversation with David because I had the same feeling. I couldn't articulate it, but the feeling was just having that conversation with David Lee Roth. And this isn't a fair example. I'm trying to articulate what I was feeling, but this was David Lee Roth in my life. This was Van Halen, and I was here looking up. And just, talking to David Lee Roth, it became like, he's just a regular guy. So I remember thinking, wow, he was a nice guy, took his time, but he was a regular guy. And it did something to me emotionally. I wasn't a kid anymore. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely.
I wasn't a kid anymore. And then when Eddie passed, I got that same feeling that came back to me. Because I'll be honest with you, I might look like an adult.
Well, there's a Pac-Man machine behind me.
I noticed that.
8x10, so I kind of feel your pain right there.
Yeah, yeah. So, but that was the feeling when Eddie died, and
yeah.
And I'll show you this. I just happen to have this, and I had the same feeling. This is hanging here in my apartment. George.
Yeah.
When I met George, I opened for George for a couple of shows, and we didn't become friends, but it was we talked, and he was it was a rite of passage for me because I first met him. It was at this little club in the Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa Beach. Mm-hmm. And I was supposed to headline that weekend, and my manager called me, and Mike runs the place, says, listen, Mike called, he's got to bump your weekend, but he said, if you want to open, you can open. And right away, Darren, my ego kicks in. Open? Are you kidding me? Right. Bumping me? I'm not opening for some sword swallower. Who the hell's bumping me? I don't open. They said, George Carlin. Does he need a ride?
Yeah.
Is he hungry? Can I bring him food? So you go down, you can't see him before the show. He's in the green room. That's all his, right? But after the show, he said, you're welcome to come back. So I come in, the MC brings me up. I did a half hour, and the Comedy Magic Club's like a little theater. So there's curtains, and then there's the wings, and I come off stage, and there's these two little eyes and this silver beard.
Right.
So he looked at me and went, you're funny. I went, and you're Carlin. And I took his hand. And he quoted a joke. He watched my last one. He goes, I love that. That joke is good. And we just started talking. We started talking about Morningside Heights because that's where he's from.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we hear the audience start clapping. And George is like, is that for me? I go, they don't want to see me again, George. You better get out. So he was so gracious. He was so nice. And we went back and he took the time, and he was aware. It was a strange thing because he was aware of his position in other people's lives. He was aware of how comics, I think, revere him or look up to him. And he was very gracious with his time. And yet I still felt like we were talking on not a level of peers, but a level of colleagues about craft and jokes and writing and stuff. And we had that moment in the conversation. And he was very present in it.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point right there. I had the pleasure of interviewing him when I was like 18 or 19, thanks to your old friend, I can't speak, your old friend, John Bland. He's like, do you want to talk to Carlin? Yeah, you know, that kind of thing. And he was so regular that he didn't love my questions. I'm horrified to listen back to that one. But I remember hearing that another friend of yours, Joey Cola, and him used to just talk on the phone and like work out material by phone. And it's amazing to think that some of the most legendary people ever, well, yourself included, of course, were regular people and didn't super embrace that spotlight. And Eddie Van Halen seemed that same kind of way.
Yeah, there's still the process of having to produce, you know, and you still have, it's the same thing, you know, it's even like with this going on, you have to continue. I mean, the pandemic has changed the way we do things, but we still have to do things. I tell my wife, I say, get up, honey, we got to eat today. Why? Because we got to shit tomorrow. Let's go. Keep the train moving.
I couldn't have said that any better. So I'll ask you the closing question, Adam, and then that's any last words for the kids?
Wash your hands.
And your dad.
Listen, no one's going to find the people that say you can, because everyone's going to tell you you can't. Find the people that say you can. And the first person that says I can better be you.
Wow. Deep. Whether or not you're trying, you're pretty damn deep there. Well, thank you so much for your time and looking forward to the full gig this weekend in Mohegan Sun.
Great. Please come up and say hello. I'll be 6 feet away wearing a mask, but I hope I see you, okay?
You'll recognize this, you know.
All right. Nice to you and your family, my friend.
Thanks.
Paltrocast.